Welcome to the 7th episode of the Hindsight and Hot Takes podcast. I'm your host, Connor Justclair. I'm joined here today by current LSU student and a longtime friend of mine, Taylor Plaisance. Today is April 5th. We'll be going over our full 2025 NFL mock draft. It's time for 2020 Vision. All right, it's time for our first full 2025 NFL mock draft. First, Titans, they need a quarterback. They need to fix their current quarterback situation. Will Levis is just not getting it done. I think they get the best quarterback available, Cam Ward, with this pick. It's a pretty easy pick. Taylor, what do you think?
Yeah, 100%. There's no real number one quarterback besides Cam Ward in this draft. Shedeur is falling, and there's really no other quarterback to pick. And like you said, Will Levis, it's just not cutting it.
It's not getting done.
There's more lowlights than highlights at this point.
Agreed. I think Titans fans need a new QB1 in that building, and I think Cam Ward, with that moxie, is going to be perfect in that situation. All right, Taylor, who do you have the Browns taking?
Number 2, I have the Browns taking Shedeur Sanders because let's face it, the Browns haven't had a franchise guy in forever.
They thought they had it with Deshaun Watson, but we know how that boat's faring right now. Not been the best.
I don't see them, me personally, sticking with Kenny Pickett as their number 1, so Shedeur Sanders number 2.
Again, he was great at Colorado. I mean, he made that school a winning football school again. I think he's going to fare well in the NFL. Right. Third pick, I have the Giants going Abdul Carter, edge from Penn State. Probably the best overall prospect in this entire draft. I mean, the dude's an athletic freak. As we talked about a couple weeks ago, I mean, in the national playoffs, the dude was going off every single game. You could tell he fits that Micah Parsons-esque build. Long, lanky, athletic, strong, quick. I think this is a very easy choice for the Giants to bolster that already really good defensive line. I got them going Abdul Carter. Taylor?
Yeah, I see. Pending his injury, which I don't see it affecting him because he played with it, apparently, throughout the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Pending his injury, I think he's going to be one of the best rushers out of all the NFL.
Agreed. All right. Next, the Patriots. Taylor, who do you have them going?
I have the Patriots taking Travis Hunter. Surprisingly fell to 4. I see him as probably a top 3, but best available. Patriots obviously going to take him. Wide receiver, corner. Can do everything. Going to pair very well with Stephon Diggs. And that defense, I mean, any team can use a number 1 cornerback and also receiver. In the NFL, I really don't think he does both full game, but I mean, he could slot in with Vrabel as their new coach. He could slide in somewhere, and it'll work. Yeah, they need to pick their poison, either slide him in to pair with Stephon Diggs or Christian Gonzalez. Either or, I think they're going to succeed with it.
I think that's a pretty good poison if you have to pick out of those two. All right. Next, Jaguars at 5. I have them going Mason Graham. Before being injured last year, he was looked at as one of the best defensive players in the entire country. Completely shut down Alabama year before last. I mean, the dude, he was great at Michigan. I think this is going to be a pretty seamless fit into this Jaguars D-line, which they don't have much on that defense.
It won't be hard to make a name for himself in that defense.
Agreed. And I think that's something that they really struggled with. They were one of the lowest teams in getting to the quarterback. So I think right here, you get a run stuffer. You get a guy that could get after the quarterback. Mason Graham, I think he's going to be a stud. All right, Taylor? Who do you have the Raiders getting?
I have the Raiders taking Ashton Genty because, honestly, they have no one on offense. Genty's the best available. And after they got rid of Josh Jacobs, they literally have no way to run the ball. Unless they're going against the Saints and they just use Admir Abdullah somehow and run for 200 yards.
Again, Genty, probably one of the highest this dude's gotten hyped in the draft process. Probably one of the most ever. I mean, the dude was getting comparisons to Barry Sanders. That doesn't happen every single year. I mean, Brian Robinson was getting hype, but I wouldn't even say to the level that Ginty's getting. I mean, you could say what you want. Yes, he played in the Mountain West, but that dude carried Boise State to the playoffs. I mean, he was the team. And I think he's going to fit very well in this Raiders offense.
Yeah, I think no matter what team he goes to, I think that fan base is going to be pretty happy with the amount of hype he's getting.
Great work ethic. I mean, that dude could have transferred away, gone to a bigger school, but he stayed at Boise State, did his time, and gonna, I believe, be easily a top 10 pick in this draft. Right, next, Jets. I got them getting Mimbow from Missouri. Offensive tackle. Again, that Jets O-line. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was getting killed last year. Not going to have Aaron Rodgers this year, but new quarterback, Justin Fields. Again, Justin Fields, he's mobile, but if you could you get a guy that could come slot in as a right tackle for the next 4 or 5 years, you do that if you're the Jets. Again, you could say they go receiver here. I think they need to bolster that offensive line for Justin Fields.
Yeah, I think adding Mimbow to their rookie this year, Olufashanu, just give Justin Fields the maximum amount of time you can to extend each play, because he really has improved himself. And if they take this tackle from Missouri, they're putting him in the best position possible.
And then you have
honestly.
2 of your tackle positions, 2 probably very highly first round picks that you think that could be the centerpiece for your team for the next 4 or 5 years.
All right, at 8, I have our first trade. The Bears are going to trade with the Panthers. Pick swap, 10-8. The Bears take Will Campbell. What do you think about that, Connor?
Will Campbell, going into this draft, was said to be probably the best offensive tackle in this entire draft. Again, you had the concerns with his arm length, but again, the dude did it at the highest level in the SEC for 3 years since he was a freshman. You've gotten to see him personally play for 2 years, correct?
Yes.
I mean, what did you see that he's going to just help this team?
What I've seen, literally just forget about the side of the D-line he's controlling, and you'll be fine for the most part.
I mean, Nussmeier didn't have to worry about his left side for 3 years.
Yeah.
Or Jaden Daniels when he was there.
And I see the Bears trading up because the Saints looming at 9, they could very well take a tackle.
Agreed. All right, we'll move to our next pick, the Saints. Again, with the possibility of getting Campbell out the window, I think they get that big body receiver that they really need. Just got Brandon Cooks, but I got them going Tet McMillan from Arizona. I mean, the dude's an athletic freak. Tall, lanky receiver, athletic. You could say he didn't have the best stats at Arizona, but again, it's Arizona. I mean, it is what it is. The dude's an athletic freak. He's going to be great on this offense. Taylor.
Yeah, he's going to be a big play type of guy. That's not necessarily the best stats. Like, you look at Keon Coleman at Florida State, his stats were not very eye-popping, but Josh Allen throwing up the ball, it's 50-50 if it comes down with
and the
it.
Dude had a big role in this team, and I think Tet McMillan's going to be very big for the Saints in the future. All right, next, we have the Panthers now at 10 after that trade. I think they get the best edge available, Mike Green, at Marshall. Again, like we said, he little school, but you notice over these past few years, guys getting drafted from little schools, they usually fare decently well in the NFL. So I think Mike Green has the tape, had the most sacks out of any edge last year. I think he's going to go to the Panthers. Taylor?
Yeah, I think, honestly, the little school comparison, there's less hype boiling around them, so I feel like they have less to live up to. So it's not that big of a risk. But top 10, it's pushing it a little, so I see it can go either way. He'll either be really good or he'll wash out soon.
Agreed. All right, next, 49ers. Surprised this dude fell this far. I have them going Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan. I mean, the dude was a stud at Michigan. Probably regarded as the number one cornerback in the whole country. The fact that the 49ers can get him here, you can't pass up that. I mean, they did just lose. They just lost Travarius Ward, so I think they get Will Johnson slide in as their cornerback 1 or 2 either side of the field. I think the transition is going to be pretty easy. Taylor?
Yeah, I think the 49ers need to bolster whatever they have left because their window is closing soon if it has not closed yet with the amount of players they have lost recently.
And I think, again, if you could just a big position like you just lost at corner, if you can, picking 11th, you can get a guy to come in, day one starter, proven, going to be a really good cornerback in the NFL, Will Johnson. You can't pass up that opportunity. All right, next, Cowboys. Taylor, who do you have them going?
At number 12, the Cowboys, I have selecting Jalen Walker, an edge.
From Georgia, very athletic, has the tape to prove it, was probably the best player on that Georgia defense, can be an edge rusher / linebacker. The Cowboys, I think right here they just go best player available. I think he's the best player left on the board. I think he's going to slide well into that Cowboy defense.
Yeah, I see the Cowboys going best player available, especially defense, because their defense was one of the worst last year.
We know that.
And they just lost some big pieces.
And you pair him up with Micah Parsons after signing one of the biggest contracts ever for a defensive player. I think it'd be a very scary 1-2 punch for the Cowboys. Next, Dolphins. I have them going probably the best tight end in this whole draft. Tyler Warren out of Penn State. Again, him too. That dude, you could almost say carried Penn State their whole way throughout the playoffs. Dolphins, right now, that tight end room's pretty weak with just Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith was good, getting up there in age. Productivity has been going down these past couple of years. So I think they get a great pass catcher in Tyler Warren at 13. Taylor?
Yeah, Tyler Warren, an amazing safety blanket for Tua. Let Tua have a dump-off pass instead of taking all the hits he's
very,
getting.
very needed on that.
Yes.
Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. You really don't have a possession catch receiver on that team right now. So I think Tyler Warren's going to fit that mold perfectly.
Yeah, Tua just sitting back in the pocket waiting for those two speedsters to get open. I see Tyler Warren taking a short route kind of role. Make sure he doesn't get hit. Get the ball out quick.
Exactly. All right, next, Colts. Taylor, who do you think they get?
I see them at 14 getting Nick Manwari from South Carolina. Just stellar draft, stellar statistical, anything.
We hyped this dude up in the combine. The dude was an athletic freak. So, I think he goes to the Colts, helps bolster that defense. A position that's really needed. They have corners. They haven't had a safety in a good bit. So, I think Manwari slides into that position well.
I could see Manwari sliding into almost any team and producing. That dude is just an athletic freak.
And I think this will prove that if you show out for the combine, even though you look to be a second-round pick, you show out at the combine, you could move yourself into the first round. Right, next, the Dirty Birds, the Falcons. I have them going James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. Again, great athlete. Was going into this season was looked at as the best edge in the entire country. Didn't have the year that you really expected from him. There's been reports that there's attitude issues with him. But I think the Falcons, we know the Falcons. They see talent. They pick James Pierce Jr. Taylor?
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I agree with all the talent, but yeah, he's just a very questionable on the personal side of things, but I still see the Falcons going because you know the Falcons.
And they need to finally get somebody that could get to the quarterback. That's something that they've struggled with for probably the last 6+ years. So I think James Pierce Jr. can very high upside. Especially getting him at 15. I think he's going to be good for the Falcons. We'll see what happens if he could fix those personal issues. Next, Cardinals. Again, I think they go cornerback here, get the best cornerback available. Jahdae Brown out of Texas to pair with Budda Baker. I think it's a pretty easy fit in this team. Obviously, you can never not help bolster the cornerback position. I think he's going to fit well into this lineup. Taylor?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a plug-and-play type of guy. The Cardinals just need better defense to give Kyler Murray and the rest of the offense time to actually gain points and not play catch-up.
I mean, going into this draft, I mean, they're not one player away from winning a Super Bowl, even making it to the playoffs. So I think this is a good start for them, getting a proven SEC cornerback. I have them going Jahdae Brown. All right, next, Bengals. Taylor, where do you think they go?
I think the Bengals at 17 go Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M.
Another guy that, again, as we said on our draft combine episode, showed out, had one of the best, or actually the best statistical combine out of anybody in the past, 20-something years. Shamar Stewart didn't have the production at Texas A&M, but again, as we'll get to in a few picks, they also had another guy on that D-line that helped. But Bengals, I mean, we don't know if they lost them yet, but Trey Hendrickson might not even be a lock to play on that team this year. So I think they go athletic freak Shamar Stewart to slide into that role. Right, with the next pick, the Seahawks. Taylor, where do you think they go?
Seahawks at 18, I think they take in Jigba's Ohio State teammate, Emeka Egbuka.
Again, new quarterback in the building, Sam Darnold. Again, Ohio State receiver. I mean, there haven't been too many Ohio State busts from that receiver position in I don't even know how long.
Especially lately.
They always seem to hit. And I think, you have in Jigba, you have Cooper Kupp. Just adding one more, pass catcher to that offense is going to be very big for the Seahawks.
If they add him, there's no reason Sam Darnold should even struggle. That's 3 big catch type of guys.
And if they get Mbuka, you might be talking about probably easily top 5 wide receiver trio in the entire league.
100%.
I think Sam Darnold's going to do well in that offense. Right, next, the Bucs. Another surprising pick, another edge that fell a little bit. From Georgia, Mykel Williams. Again, athletic freak, has the tape, just a little bit raw. That's what throughout this whole combine process, that's what scouts were saying. But again, the athleticism is there. He played at the highest level. I think the Bucs get a much needed edge to bolster that defensive line. Mykel Williams, Taylor, what you think?
Yeah, for the Bucs to succeed, they just need to take the best player available for their defense because it feels like their offense was firing on all cylinders somehow with Baker Mayfield the past 2 years. So they just need to not play catch-up like we saw in the playoffs against Jaden Daniels. Yep. They just could not take him down.
And I think Mykel Williams, athletic freak, can definitely help that situation. Right, next at 20, I have the Broncos going Amarian Hampton from North Carolina. Again, I'd say the best running back available. I mean, the dude was a stud at North Carolina for the past couple of years. Probably the best running back to ever come out of that school. Taylor?
Yeah, watching this guy's tape, it just screams Leonard Fournette LSU tape.
That was my next thing I was
He just
about to
bounces
say.
off of every tackle.
Yep.
There's no wrong pick here for the Broncos. I think it'll be 100% hit.
I think this dude, he showed out in college. He's going to do just fine in the NFL. Right, next, Steelers finally filling that gap at quarterback. We know last year they lost Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. I think they fill that need, that gap with Jackson Dart. It's been rumored to go to them this whole process, but I think they get Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart. Taylor?
Yeah, Jackson Dart around medium floor, but a very, very high ceiling. You've seen some plays that he just uncorks it and it's a touchdown instantly, but we've seen a few iffy decisions, like against Florida, for example.
And LSU.
Yeah.
I think, again, he has the arm talent. He has the mobility. But, again, the decision-making, I think the Steelers are going to figure that out with him. I see him being a very good quarterback for the Steelers in the next upcoming years.
He reminds me of, I think my best draft comp for Jackson Dart currently is this year's Bo Nix. Just the right situation, he's going to do good.
I agree with that. I mean, he's going to have a receiver in DK Metcalf to throw to now.
Yeah.
Again, another Ole Miss.
Yeah.
The writing's on the wall. We'll see what happens. But I think they go Jackson Dart. I think he's going to be successful in the NFL. All right, next pick. Chargers at 22. Again, I think they go best overall player right here. Walter Nolan. Another Ole Miss player, back-to-back. D-tackle. I mean, the dude was an unstoppable force in the SEC for the past couple of seasons. I know from watching him, he was the guy to make plays on that defense. So I got the Chargers bolstering that defensive line to get Walter Nolan from Ole Miss. Taylor?
Yeah, he was double-teamed basically every play of his collegiate career, and he was just a bulldozer. You could not stop him.
That's a good comparison for him, a bulldozer.
Any quarterback, they just instantly have to roll out as soon as they snap it once he gets through them.
And then, again, a great run stopper. So even if he kind of loses that getting to the quarterback, the dude will be
going to stuff the middle.
Stuff the run. I think, and the Chargers really do need that. So I got them going Walter Nolan. Next, Packers. They get some help for that wide receiver room. It's been kind of weak the past couple of years. I got them going Missouri, wide receiver, Luther Burden. Going into this year, was looked as the number one receiver in the entire draft. Didn't show out like he would have wanted to this year. Missouri had a little bit of a down year considering the hype that they were getting, but I got them getting a very good wide receiver prospect in Luther Burden.
Yeah, we'll see how successful Luther Burden is with Jordan Love compared to Brady Cook. I think he's going to take a big jump up in production at the NFL level.
I see him being that team's number one receiver in the next couple of years. Next, Vikings. Another guy that we were very impressed with his combine. Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky, DB. I mean, the dude was had the fastest cornerback time out of anybody. The dude showed out at Kentucky, played in the SEC. The Vikings need to bolster that DB room. You could say they go quarterback here, but I really don't think there's any quarterbacks left. So I got them getting the best cornerback available with the highest upside, in my opinion, Maxwell Hairston. Taylor?
Yeah, definitely one of the highest upside guys in this draft, and why not take him? Because, yeah, the Vikings do need a quarterback, but they'll definitely be able to find one in the later rounds.
Or
a little trade, or free agency.
Or a certain guy that was with the Jets last year, Aaron Rodgers. That would be a crazy story.
Yeah, Brett Favre action.
Brett Favre-esque. But that's a story for a different time. Right, next, Houston just lost Laramie Tunsil. I got them filling that hole with Kelvin Banks out of Texas. Again, SEC tackle. Was very good for Texas. Led them in the playoffs this year. I think, again, he's one of those plug-and-play guys. But I get the Houston just filling a hole at that tackle position. I got them going Kelvin Banks. Taylor?
Yeah, they definitely need a tackle here, especially losing that veteran role. They just need a new leader now at tackle position.
And you could say, I mean, C.J. Stroud was running for his life out there the past couple of seasons. So I think they figure that out, getting Kelvin Banks.
Kelvin Banks staying in Houston, I think he shows out, especially he's not even going to have to move anywhere.
Exactly.
He's there.
Exactly. Right, next pick, Rams at 26. Again, this Ram team's very weird, but I think they could use something to bolster that already pretty good offense. I got them going Colston Loveland from Michigan, tight end. The dude was very good in college. Kind of went under the radar until this combine season that he's been showing out. He's been going first round in all the mock drafts that I've seen. So I got the Rams picking him with the 26th pick. Taylor?
He reminds me of like a Sam Laporta-esque player. Just that safety blanket, and he did a really good at the combine. Very eye-popping stats.
And I think he'll just help that offense that just lost Cooper Kupp, that other safety blanket. So I think they replaced that safety blanket with Loveland out of
You could say they replaced it with Devontae Adams, but that's yet to be seen if Devontae Adams is still the same player he was years ago.
Exactly. And that, I mean, they haven't had a great tight end these past couple of years. So I think they find their starting tight end of the future with this pick. Next pick, the Ravens always seem to just have that one player that falls to them that always works out. I think this happens again. They got Texas A&M edge, Nick Scorton. Again, like we were saying earlier, not as high of an upside as Shamar Stewart, but again, the production was there. So I have them going Nick Scorton with this pick.
Yeah, complete opposite of Shamar Stewart, where Shamar didn't have the stats to back up how good he was. Nick Scorton tore through SEC lines his entire collegiate career, and he kind of stole the show from Shamar, so we'll see how it goes in the NFL.
I think it's going to be another seamless transition. I think the Ravens always seem to have a really good first-round draft pick in the later rounds, so I think Scorton's going to be very good for them.
Yeah, like you said, it's not as high of a ceiling, but I think he's already there. He's pretty NFL level, in my opinion.
I agree. All right, Taylor. Next pick, the Lions. Where do you think they go?
At 28, I see them going Donovan Azireku, an edge from Boston College.
Again, this dude, as in early mock drafts, he was looked as probably the second best edge to Abdul Carter, but didn't have the combine season that he would have liked. So I have him falling. But again, I think this shows that this edge class is just very deep. The dude, was a stud at Boston College. I know Boston College isn't the highest level of football, but the ACC's pretty good, and he showed out.
Yeah, I didn't watch much tape on Boston College, but from the bit I've seen, I was definitely excited to see the game where they started exposing Florida State for being pretty terrible this past year.
And this dude was Florida State's nightmare.
Yes.
So I think, again, Lions bolster that edge position with Donovan. Next, Commanders. I got them going the best guard probably in this entire draft, Tyler Booker from Alabama. Taylor?
Yeah, give JD5 some time to throw it, and it's going to be on the money, touchdown every single time. Just bolster that O-line. Maybe give him a few more weapons, receivers, maybe a younger tight end, Mason Taylor in the later rounds. Or maybe some running backs that bolster his offense, and they're going to be unstoppable. I see them winning a Super Bowl if they play their cards right soon.
And I think with this pick, getting the guard of the future, I think they might get to that position sooner than we think. The next pick, the Bills, just lost Mac Hollins, lost a lot of receivers, don't really have a number one guy. So I got them going Matthew Golden from Texas. Again, one of these Texas receivers, just super fast, gets down the field, gets the ball. I think he's going to play perfectly with Josh Allen.
Sub 4.340. He's going to seamlessly transition into NFL route running at least.
And the dude was a very good route runner, good pass catcher. Again, you just add another speedster with a quarterback like Josh Allen, he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, in college he was kind of outshined by Isaiah Bond, but looking at the stats, always seemed to me that Matthew Golden was just a better player. Agreed, and even looking at their play, just Matthew Golden seemed to always get open while Isaiah Bond was iffy.
So I think this is going to be a very seamless transition. I think he works well in that offense. Okay, next, Chiefs just lost their star safety, Justin Reed, to our New Orleans Saints. I think they go best safety available. Going into this draft was probably looked as the best safety, but as we said, Iman Wari from South Carolina showed out. Malachi Starks didn't, and I still think he goes first round. I think the Chiefs fill that safety position that they desperately need with Georgia safety Malachi Starks. Taylor?
Yeah, the Chiefs need to bolster their defense after the utter dismantle of them in the Super Bowl.
This is a good place to start.
Yes, they need to start here, and if not, completely rebuild that defense. They're getting up there in age, almost everyone.
So I think this is going to be a pretty seamless fit.
Cannot go wrong with this pick.
No. Now, final pick of the first round, Eagles. Taylor, who do you think they get?
At number 32, Eagles get Tate Radledge, guard.
Georgia, another Georgia player. A lot of Georgia players in this draft. Again, As usual. Again, you need somebody to help Jalen Hurts with tush puss. Just kidding. But I think, again, Tate Ratledge, dude played in the SEC. He's going to be a very seamless fit into that O-line. I think you're going to slide well into an already really good Eagles team.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too hard to slide into the Eagles O-line. They pretty much get hit after hit after hit with that O-line. I don't see it going wrong.
No. All right. That's all we have for the first round. I would like to thank everyone for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please leave a like and comment your thoughts.
Hindsight's got the view, hot takes cutting through. Join us next time, my friend, where the shouting never ends.